We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has
been extremely dangerous to our democracy.
What's going on? What's going on? You know what time it is. You know what rhyme it is. I'm the gracious host A6. We are live and direct, live in effect. It is a Sunday. Temperatures dropping a little bit. It was a little bit. I'm not gonna say it was nippy, but it's clearly there's a season change. You know, here on the East Coast in Maryland. What's up with everybody here in the chat? Who we got here in the chat? My man Wolf in the house. Bad Wolf is in the house. Everybody, if you haven't already, go check my man Bad Wolf out. Dude is a genius with the information. Check my man out. Good information there. Law of the land. What up? What's good with you? Everybody click that like. Yes, indeed. Click the like, please. On the way in, hit the like. We got 20 heads in here. Y'all can just smack the like button on the way in. That'd be great. My man ACOG is in the house. Yes, indeed. Hit the like. Hit the like, everybody. Check out ACOG. Go subscribe to his channel over on YouTube for the finest and Second Amendment news and information. What's going on, Mr. Bourne? How you feeling? All right. Civic Maker, perfect attendance as usual. What up? Jared, what's up, man? Good to have you here on time. Alfonso Morales, what it is, man? Stoic, what it is? What's up? King, what's good? YLR, what up? How you feeling? Yes, sir. Yes, D. I got to turn my banner on. You caught me slipping on the banner. Yes, indeed. Banner's at the bottom. Yes, indeed. How's everybody doing, man? What's good with y'all? How's everything hanging with you guys, man? Peace and blessings to everybody who comes in. If you're watching the rerun, peace and blessings. You know, out there moving and grooving, shaking and baking. My man Tony just waltzed up in here. Tony's like the cool kid who shows up everywhere late. You know what I mean? But he's very, very conspicuous by his absence. Like, you know, he's something's missing. Like, yeah, Tony's not here. That's what's missing. What's up, Tony? What's going on with you? All right, man. Let's get right into it, man. I really, like I said, I didn't do too much. Didn't do too much this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Got a chance to get some reading done, just combing through those Maryland statutes and looking to see what laws apply where and how the law applies. Because what me and Wolf are starting to find out is what these people that do, if you're in the Foreign National News Network group, I shared a clipping of a statute, and it was interesting because all through the statute, if you look at what it says about motor vehicles and stuff, the interesting part about it was it constantly referenced motor vehicles. You know what I'm saying? But there was one part in there which really caught me off guard. There was one part in there that basically said automobiles. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so there is a distinction between vehicles and automobiles in the statute. And the way the statute was talking about it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was something to do with like a giant. All right, so there's, you know how they got the big tow trucks that bring cars to the dealership, and you'll see like 10 cars on one, or like maybe 7 cars on one layer, and then they have the bottom layer with like another 7 cars. They might all be Mercedes, they might all be Chevys, you know what I'm saying, depending on what dealership they're going to. So those cars that weren't registered, because none of them are registered, because that's the reason they're going to the dealership, so they can be sold and be registered and sold to buyers. So the way they were explaining it was the motor vehicle was the actual tow freight, and all the cars on it were actually automobiles, because they were one of the definitions was capable of being capable of being registered. I think is what they were specifically called, automobiles capable of being registered. You know what I'm saying? But they refer to them as automobiles, not motor vehicles, which is crazy. It's like, all right, so y'all know the difference. So because they were on this motor freight and they weren't registered and there was no place for them or anything like that, then these were automobiles. You know what I'm saying? So proof is in the pudding. So comb through y'all statutes and look for stuff like that. Now the tricky part is, and how they get us is, these statutes are thousands of pages long. Like you might have a statute that might be literally 250 pages, and you got to comb through all of them and read every line to see what applies. That's how they get people, because people ain't got time for that for the most part. You know what I'm saying? People are all doing stuff and working and all that good stuff, but you really got to comb through those things and find out what applies and where it applies, because a lot of it was like, they're ignoring Supreme Court's ruling. Not really, because the reason they get away with it is because they hide it. It's there. You know what I'm saying? It's just hidden. And they purposely hide it, because if everybody found out about it, then they would stop making money on people registering their automobiles. You know what I'm saying? Turning them into motor vehicles. And that's pretty much what we learned. There's a few, and it's not just that. There's a few different ones too. You know what I'm saying? Where they apply differently. You might be able to do it different methods. So it's just interesting, man, because all along they were following what Supreme Court said. It's just obscured. It's hidden. There's no law that says it can't be hidden. It could be hidden as long as it's there. It can be hidden. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. But yeah, that statute was interesting, because it literally said automobiles, in contrast to motor vehicles. Like, okay, so y'all know the difference. Got you, PDF you posted. Yeah, you read the PDF? That's what I was talking about, man. I probably went through about I want to say 25 pages earlier, because and a lot of things too I had learned, it's all commerce, because everything they were talking about for the most part was like commercial vehicles, salt trucks, because out here in the DMV, when it gets real cold, it'll snow, and then the roads may ice over with the black ice and the white ice, so they got to have the snow trucks out here drop, not the snow trucks, but the salt trucks. They drop salt chemical all over, which, by the way, interestingly enough, is what tears the roads up. It's the chemicals and stuff in constant use and riding back and forth that tears the roads up. That salt ain't no good for that concrete, I'm telling you. But anyway, yeah, the salt trucks will drop the salt down, and it was literally talking about how the salt trucks can operate. This section doesn't apply to chemical trucks, riding back and forth to make more traction on the roads. It literally had what exceptions apply where. So they basically figured out how to regulate commerce, because all that stuff's commercial. Salt trucks are commercial. It's for commerce. You know what I'm saying? They're being paid to drop the salt all over the roads. So that was an interesting find. You know what I'm saying? And the further you read into it, you start to find out how the law applies. I also looked into the 2A, which a lot of people were I don't talk about this a lot for obvious reasons, but I'll drop a little bit of information on this. But I also looked into the 2A, Second Amendment in Maryland, and how the permitting thing works. And the reason they got in trouble is because they didn't leave any provision in their statutes for like people who don't want to get permits. Like for instance, how we just talked about the difference between automobiles and motor vehicles. They had nothing like that in the scheme with the permits to carry arms. You know what I'm saying? Or to carry firearms. I'm sorry. And that's why they got in trouble, because it's like, yo, y'all are telling people they got to do this, that, and the third, and y'all aren't leaving y'all not doing it like y'all did the the motor vehicles or the automobiles. You're just flat out saying you cannot carry anything that, definition of a firearm type deal. You can't carry that here unless you had this, period. And that's why they got in trouble. So the New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin case, which a lot of people surprisingly in this community don't know about, which, you guys are supposed to be studying case law and paying attention to it. You should know about this case because it was a landmark case which will change the fundamental way that law is being regulated. You know what I'm saying? For instance, when I went to Arizona, Arizona's they call it constitutional carry, but it's really permitless carry, which is basically the same thing. You don't need to beg the government permission to go ahead and strap up. You know what I'm saying? If you get caught with that arm, as long as you ain't in a position where you can't go through them to get one, then you'll be fine, if that makes sense. So if you're a felon or something like that and they catch you with it, you're going to have to fight for your damn life. But if you're somebody that can go to the store and buy one anyway, you're good. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, you got the right to do that, or there's no statute saying you can't. Interestingly enough, if you read Arizona's carry laws, and it was interesting because when I was there, I looked at the front of the bar. All of them have signs posted. If there's liquor served or alcohol served, I think the statute says if there's alcohol being served, you can't bring it on a premises or something like that. But interestingly enough, it says this section does not apply to non-residents. I was like, interesting. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, so they basically have permitless carry, but the fact that you can't bring a quote unquote firearm into a place, a bar or something like that serves liquor, it doesn't apply to non-residents. And I read this thing like 4 times because I'm like, yo, this seems obtuse as hell. You know what I'm saying? But it dead said that, like, yo, this section does not apply to non-residents. You know what I'm saying? So we know the whole gamut between residents, non-residents, all that stuff, but they can only regulate the residents. That's people that's within the corporation. You know what I'm saying? So the more you start paying attention to some of these statutes, man, because some of these statutes have the answers we've been searching for. You know what I mean? It's not that they just being flat out negligent and ignoring what the Constitution or with what well, some of them are ignoring what the Constitution says, like, and it's being reworked and fixed now. Again, New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin is a good example of that. But back to what I was saying, some of these statutes that have, like these cases that have happened, I think it was over 75 right to travel cases. These cases have happened a long time ago. These statutes were rearranged for that purpose. You just got to find, where it applies to you. You know what I'm saying? Or what you can do to make sure you're covered. And you still, even though the statute is there, you still might have to, go to court and put them on point. You know what I'm saying? But even though, like, we're in the right because we all know what the Supreme Court rulings have said, but you still have to go in there and basically stand on your square. That's just with anything. I wonder what an automobile not capable of being, what would make an automobile not capable of being registered. That's a great question. Let's say, for instance, you got an imported automobile. Let's say, for instance, somehow you are able to get your hands on a 2023 Nissan GTR, right? Straight from Japan. Like, it's got a Japanese VIN number. The steering wheel's on the right-hand side. It is not DOT compliant because they got to crash test these cars before they come over here. Yes, even though the car is available on the U.S. market, they have to crash test the Japanese version, and they've never done so. It's retarded how that works. But if you look into the Motorex scandal of what happened with the Nissan Skyline, with the guy who opened a import. He opened like a Nissan Skyline import business in Cali. And this might have been like what was this? I think this was like 2001. But he opened he wanted to import Nissan Skylines for people that had money to get them because, the Skylines literally back then, because now they're ridiculous. If you go get a Skyline now, you're going to spend about, for a GTR 32, you're going to spend about 50 grand or 40 grand, which is crazy because when they first started importing them over here legally, which was back in 2017, I think, or something like that, somewhere around that area. When they first started importing them, that car was 18 grand. But now, everybody wants to get their hands on them. And then, the whole thing with import tariffs and all that stuff, it drove the price up so high. So there was a dollar going all over the place. So the cars are expensive as hell. But I'm getting off track. With the whole Motorex thing, right? He was importing these cars over here, and what you would have to do is when you go to import the cars, you would have to send, I think it was 10 of them to the Department of Transportation for crash testing. So 10 of the Skylines just went straight for the DOT to be totaled, which is a tragedy. Don't even get me started because I'm a car guy. But yeah, so 10 of them had to go get tested, and they got crashed. And then what they did was they wrote up a report on what needed to be done to make these cars street compliant. And then what Motorex would do was they would get the specs from DOT, and then they would import the Skylines, and they would make them compliant to be drivable on the street. You know what I'm saying? And when I say drive, I say that on purpose because they would have to be registered, you know what I'm saying, DOT compliant, which would make them motor vehicles. So that's what happened at that time. So I say all that basically to say, well, how would a car not be able to be registered? Well, if you were able to get a 2023 Nissan GTR here, you know what I'm saying, which is dumb illegal, but if you were able to get it here, you know what I'm saying, you would not be able to register it because one is not DOT compliant because they haven't crash test that version of the car, and then two, it's got a Japanese VIN number, So the cars that come over here now, they still have Japanese VIN numbers, but they also have registration numbers from when they were carried over on the boats, the what are they called, freight boats or whatever they are. And they got whole boats that transport cars from other countries to here. You could do the same thing otherwise. Like if you got a lot of Nigerians that come over here from Africa, and they'll buy a lot of Toyotas, and they'll buy Acuras, Hondas, and they'll fix them up, and then they'll put them on boats, and they'll sell them overseas in Nigeria. And then thing about it is they get like triple their money, So a lot of them Nigerians, they're not going to put you on with the plug, but that's a little hookup they got where they can make a little bit of cheese, but they ain't putting no Americans on with that. I tried it before. They're not putting you on with no connects. They want all the money. But yeah, a lot of them do that. They'll come over here and they'll buy the cars and they'll sling them over there. So I think I would go as far as to say a car able to be registered would be a car in that situation, or it would be a car that, if you take a car, you just gut the interior, you take the airbags all out of the car, you take the body frame. You guys ever seen those funny cars, the race cars that are tube frame? They got carbon fiber body parts. The fenders are made of carbon fiber. They're not crash compliant. You can't register that car. You know what I'm saying? That car is not able to be registered. Prime example, It's just got me figuring out how to find books and docs thinking out of the box. Yo, my man Civic Maker is the document king. And this is not to say that y'all could be reaching out to my man asking him to send y'all documents. All right, because my man is contracted with me. All right, don't be overloading my man asking. He always, any document I need, he got it. You know what I'm saying? My man. He got me a document on the 1952 what is it? The 1952 Post Office Act or something like that, or something. But it was basically the post office manual for 1952 in so many words. And it tells you in that manual how to do a lot of cool stuff with the post office. You can use stamps to discharge debts and all that stuff. But he actually found the PDF on the Smithsonian website, the whole entire manual. I was like, yo, that's crazy. By law, full ownership of a thing allows for you to name it. A motor vehicle is commercial and public, automobile, private, non-registered. It's that simple, bro. It's in the federal codes, man. It's in the federal codes. A motor vehicle and one who are driving are basically used for the operation of commerce. And another thing, too, I know I've actually seen a guy. All right, so if you're one of them people who have a business truck, if you have like a one of them Comcast-looking vans, the white vans, you know what I mean, that you can put a bunch of tools in the back of, carpenter van or whatever you want to call it. It's basically like a Ford E350 or one of them Chevy Express vans. You can't really use that to travel because that thing is equipped differently. Like the way it's equipped is equipped for business. Like you can't use a tow truck to exercise your right to travel. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna be trying to hear that because it's technically a motor vehicle, even though it may not be registered, but it's equipped to be able to do business. That's a slippery slope. I mean, I guess you can make an argument you can, but that's a slippery slope. What up, Lamont? What's good? Skyline is a sick whip. Let me tell you something, bro. My favorite Nissan Skyline is the 1997. Is it the 7 or it might be the 19? Nah, it's the 97 because I think the GTR 34 didn't come out to 99. So the 97 GTR 34 twin turbo, man, that's in a white color or a midnight purple. Forget about it, man. Oh my gosh, there's not many things on this earth prettier than that car. You know what I mean? That car is gorgeous, bro. And you put some you take that Hikis off the back of it, disable the Hikis. You put a like a stage 3 Nismo kit on there, man, with the blow off valves and a wastegate upgrade. Oh my gosh. Yo, that car is raw, man. It's beautiful. The taillights are gorgeous, man. Oh, it sounds good. I always like the way Nissan's engines sound when they you put full exhaust on them. You know, you put full exhaust on a Nissan. I remember when the 350s first came out. I used to have a back in the day, I used to have an 03 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. People used to call it an Evo. And I remember when I had that car, and I love the way those Mitsubishis always sounded with exhaust on them. They sound badass. But yo, there was something about a full exhaust Nissan 350 going up the road that purred the exhaust. It was crazy. It always sounded real nice to me, you know. Wouldn't the end legions be the convicted? Yeah, I mean, yes, technically you're absolutely right, Bill. Yes. The ends legions was the legal fiction would be the felon. That's correct. You far into the game. What route you advise me to take to understand the lingo they talk in court? I want to break down. Man, you ought to be doing. Yo, I'll be honest with you. The best thing to do is to listen to a lot of these kind of listen to Wolf, listen to Eon. I talk about it a lot. Yusuf L is where I get a lot of my information from. I would recommend listening to that. You know, do your research. You can always go on the website, Black Site 32, Wolf's website, Satcom 911, I think might be my man. I got to double check that, but Eon has a website. I think it's called Satcom 911 or something like that. He's got some great documents on there. Get yourself a Black's Law dictionary. You know, start reading the Constitution. You know, start reading that Constitution. That's a great place to start because you can literally download an app on your phone with the Constitution on it and just start reading that bad. But read your Bill of Rights. You know, read how stuff works. You know what I mean? As a people, we just got to get back in touch with how the country's supposed to be ran. You know what I mean? And we got so far out of touch just being concerned with a lot of crap. You know, we got far away from it. But yeah, you know, Jonah Bay is another one. Listen to him, you know, and you'll start to listen to these guys and you'll start to pick things up. You know, start looking up stuff as well. That's what I recommend, man. Just get in the books, man. Ain't no other way around it. Get in the books. Parts also. Yep. We do that in Belize. They used to have this loophole, man, where people were importing Skylines illegally, and people got pinched for this though, because there was this company down in North Carolina, and I used to know this guy that had a 32 GTST. It was turbo, rear wheel drive, and this dude could drift. I watched this dude pull up to the lot, and we called it the lot because it was literally like a car show, you know. People will be street racing, and you have all your guys with their waxed, brand new paint jobs on their cars. Literally, like 300 people in the parking lot. I'm talking girls, music. You know what I'm saying? People had the DVDs playing back in the day. They had the DVDs and the headrests, the sound systems blaring. You know what I'm saying? Girls wearing their skimpy outfits. It was love. The Baltimore car scene was love back in the day. Let me tell you something. If anybody on this thing right here, looking at me right now, remembers the Baltimore car scene from Northern Parkway in the early 2000s. It was a thing of beauty. I'm telling you. Yeah, it was a thing of beauty. It wasn't a whole bunch of violence, you know what I'm saying? Respectfully, with it being Baltimore, out of all the times I've been down there, I only seen somebody get shot one time. But this dude was asking for it, you know, and I don't condone violence, you know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother conversation. He got shot in the arm because he's running his mouth. But it's, you know, I don't condone any kind of violence or nothing like that. But you would think in Baltimore it'd be more violent. But it was mostly cool though. You know, the camaraderie was real nice, man. Everybody knew each other, man. Nobody was really on some nonsense. You know what I'm saying? We all looked out for each other. It was a love type deal. But anyway, the guy had a Skyline, and he would I watched this guy drift a circle around the whole entire parking lot and not hit one car. It was crazy. And he was talented. So I asked him, I was like, yo, how the hell did you get that car in here? He said, man, this place in North Carolina. It's like a body shop, and they had some kind of loophole where they would import the car and it would be listed as parts because they would send the car without, all right, boom. They would send the frame, right? And then they would send the engine separate. And then they would send the transmission separate, but the rest of the car is completely together. So it would technically be listed as parts because you can import foreign parts. That was the loophole. You can get foreign parts over here easy. Like you can literally order parts from Japan, no problem. And they ain't gonna give you a whole bunch of crap about that. You can't import the whole entire assembled car. That's the thing. And that's what they was doing. So they import like 5 Skylines with the engines all removed from them, the transmissions all removed, the body's completely intact. And then they would get the cars dropped off at their yard, and then they would put the cars together. And then they would do some, like, I think they was able to go to, because you can register any damn thing in Florida. I think there was a guy that had a R34 here illegally that was registered somehow in Florida. I don't know how the hell he did it. But yeah, Florida, you can register a lawnmower. You know what I'm saying? Florida is like that for real. But yeah, they was able to get plates for these things in Florida, and you know, they would sell the cars. So dude went and bought it. I think he bought it for like 15 bands. You know what I'm saying? They were cheap back then. But yeah, there's that loophole. You know what I'm saying? There was a loophole that the company found out about with the import rules. Now disclosure. Yeah, I just explained how they did it. They import the cars as parts. These state courts aren't trying to hear constitutional law because it restricts their revenue. They can't force you to be a U.S. citizen. Sue the state of Maryland, the federal court. You know, that's it's a lot of ways to move and shake. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to disclose what's going on, but yeah, 1953 postal. That's what it is. Okay, I thought it was 1953. That's what it was. Crazy. I work at the post office. Nice. Over 10,000 pounds, I guess. Not as an automobile. Yeah, there's a certain weight limit too. That's also one of the things in the statutes. Also, what up, Dark? Ugo, what up, man? What's going on, champ? Good to see you here. But yeah, so you know, that's the whole entire thing about the you know, they got these cars broken down in different classes, motor vehicles, automobiles. You know what I'm saying? It's all separate. You know, so there you have it. Now, my question would be to you guys, if you were able to somehow get you would still get impounded. I think they would still impound you though. You know what I'm saying? They would impound you, and then you're gonna have hell getting it out of the impound, because then once they find out that shit ain't registered and it's Japanese, they're gonna reach out to the federal government. You know what I'm saying? Then now you got to ask where the hell you got to answer the question of where the hell you got it from. You're getting hit with smuggling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So my question to you guys was like, yo, if you was able to somehow get one over here and you was able to whip it around, not registered, would that still be okay as a right to travel? But you still gonna have to deal with those issues that I'm trying to impound you with. You know what I mean? Fast and Furious 1 and 2 kind of ruined the import game. Why would you say that, though? Why would you say that? I'm curious to know, because I hear people say this all the time, and I don't agree with that, man. I think Fast and the Furious 1 and 2 blew that shit up, if anything. Like, yo, it made it so that, you know what I mean, more people were aware of what was going on and got into it, you know? I remember when Fast and Furious, the first one came out in like 2001, and yo, we used to have like a rim gallery attached to the auto shop, and yo, people were coming in and buying stuff left and right. It was car fever. Like, yo, you would have kids with little Honda Civics, 95 Honda Civic 4-door, you know, automatic. It ain't fast. It ain't a freaking Type R. Ain't nothing like that. It's just a regular ass Honda Civic. You know what I'm saying? And they would come in to get underglow kits, mufflers on their cars. You know what I'm saying? Little aluminum wings. They would write some out. You know what I mean? All these kinds of things. And yeah, it was a fun time for me. I don't know. I don't see how it ruined. I can't see how it actually ruined the import scene, because I'm gonna tell you, man, my experience, stuff just got more interesting. More technology came out for cars. You had Japanese cars with smaller engines and turbos sticking their foot up in American cars' rear end, you know what I'm saying, with a V8. Until the American cars figured out how to put superchargers and turbos on their cars, and it just became a completely different conversation. But the technology is what really bridged the gap. So I can't say that it ruined it. I'm just curious to know why you would say that, though. Private trust or own nation. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. That is one way. That is definitely one way. Yeah, you can do that too. Yep. Surety bond. Yes, indeed. All right. Enough about the cars, man. Let's chop a game and get into it real quick. All right. Now I stumbled across this video, and I had very strong feelings about this video because I used to be like, hold on. Here we go. I used to be really heavily into hip hop, and when I say used to be, it's because I just don't see it the same way as I used to anymore, man. You know what I mean? And it's not the old classics, it's more like the new stuff is just garbage. To me, that's my opinion. But I always thought this. Let me play this for you guys. Let me know what you guys think.
Brought the age of destruction. Damn. Jesus. NWA brought the age of destruction to our children and our culture. Wow. Period. Hey, I respect all of them as men, but as the art form, and you want me to speak on the art form, I'm going to tell you what it is. That's where it started. Wow. That's where the agenda started, and that's where the destruction began.
Of gangster rap, you will give that to them?
I'm going to have to say I agree with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Rumor has it there was a secret meeting, and I don't know how true this is. This could be true. It could be just a rumor, but rumor has it there was a secret meeting that certain executives of record labels was involved to, and this happened around, I think, 1992 or something like that. It might have been before that. It was right before NWA came out. And it was supposed to have been like a secret meeting where certain high-ranking record executives had to come to this meeting. They wanted to be involved. If not, they were guaranteed that their label would not be able to survive during the changes that are upcoming. So they basically said no cameras were allowed. They talked about how music was about to be changed. The gangster rap was about to go out, and it was about, the conscious rap was about to go out, and they're about to introduce this gangster rap and take it in a whole nother direction, and how much money could be made off violence, because they were saying a whole lot of these European children wanted to hear the gangster music, and there was a lot of lucrative money to be involved in that. And it was like a mysterious mystique around, dudes being involved in gang activity and making music and, all kinds of violence. And there's one guy who said he went to the meeting originally not knowing what it was going to be about. And when he got there, he actually got up and left because he was disgusted. And he got in an argument with some guy at the door, and they kicked him out. And he's like, he slowly started to watch these artists come out and put this music out that led to the destruction of communities. You know what I'm saying? And we know how important and how strong music is and frequencies are and how they affect the mind, So if you got these children that are very impressionable at a certain age listening to this kind of music, this can check their thought pattern. Music is, it's one of those things that can really determine the way or function of how you think. It might not flat out make you do something, you know what I'm saying? But it could be a situation where the music that you listen to couldn't affect you a certain way. Like, you ever heard a song? Have you ever been feeling a certain way? Like, you might be like depressed about something, and you might hear a song, and it might be like, I feel a little bit better now. Or yeah, okay, all right. This, like, for instance, that song, "Don't Worry, Be Happy." The guy singing, I don't remember how it goes exactly. But yeah, that song, when I was younger, if I was upset about something, I would hear that song and I feel a little better, and music can do this. You might be having a good day. You might hear a song that reminds you of a real hard breakup with a girl or something like that. And you might start thinking like, damn, that shit was crazy. damn, man, I can't believe I went out like that, man. That's wild, you know. These things can affect people certain ways. And let's say somebody's in a situation where they're already on edge. You know, let's say you got a situation where somebody's, you know, going through a hard time, or they're just dealing with a lot on their plate. And then that one song they hear, just it pushes them. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people already on edge because of the way they're living. You know, some people are living harder than others. Some people are struggling. They hear a song that makes them think, man, you know what, man, F all this, blah, blah, blah. You know, they might go do something, or they might be affected a certain way to go make a certain move. You know, a lot of Mobb Deep's music was actually like that. Y'all ever wonder why? And this is for my people in the indigenous community. All right. A lot of my my European or Caucasian people might not know what I'm talking about at this particular circumstance. Have you guys ever heard excuse me, have you guys ever heard a situation where, you know, at one of them clubs or something like that down in the hood, whenever they used to play a Little John song, yo, it would just go, it would be crazy. It'd be like a goddamn spell just hit over the dude. People punching each other in the face, man. Somebody gets shot, somebody gets stabbed. It's always something crazy when one of them Little John songs used to come on. And I'm telling you, bro, like some of these songs, they got some kind of magical curse or something put on them to invoke this kind of behavior, you know, because everything would be cool, man. Girls would be walking around talking to dudes, you know. Dudes would just be chilling in a corner in a cut, you know. Dudes might be mean mugging. They might get defensive, you know, because everybody's out there repping their hood or whatever. And you might have this one song that comes on, bro. And it's like throwing a match in a gasoline-filled room or a gasoline vapor room. And it just ignites everything, man. I'm telling you. It's the music. That's one of the key factors. You couple the music with economic deprivation, and then you cover that. Yeah, you cover that also with you know, bad diet, you know, breathing in harsh chemicals, washing your body with lead water, you know what I mean? Drinking faucet water with lead in it. Dude, I'm telling you, this all is a compound. It's all like a compound programming or effect for the determination of what happens afterwards. All of that stuff, man. It's a combination of things. It's not just one. Why they so crazy? They crazy because slowly but surely they've been having to endure all this stuff. You know what I mean? What up, Eternal Life, man? What's good, man? I'm glad. Did you ever get your van back, man? My man, Gift of Eternal Life, they took my man's van. He had his right to travel plates on his whip. I watched this video. I think it was maybe a month ago or something. I just saw it, but they yanked my man's van from him because he was traveling. That van was relatively new too. I hate to see him get taken from him, but he ended up going back to the junkyard, and I think he had some words with a sheriff or something. But I hope you got your van back, man. Godspeed to him, man. My man, hey, look, now this is what I call mutual respect, all right? This is mutual respect right here. Y'all need to follow James Lovett, man, and get out there and make that donation, man. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks. Good looking out to Bad Wolf, man. My man hooked me up on that one. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I wonder how Fat Joe feel about him saying I'm not a Puerto Rican, but I kick so that juke now. What the hell? I don't know what he said or what that meant, but okay. I don't know what that means, man. I'm sorry. Shalom. What up, Mountain Flame? The megahertz. Yeah. 6-6. What is it? 3-6 Mafia. Yeah. They 3-6 Mafia. A lot of their music, they used to be, a lot of people don't know 3-6 Mafia used to be a horrorcore group. And horrorcore hip hop is real dark, demonic, and it's very violent. You know, raps about violence and stuff like that and mutilating people. You know, 3-6 Mafia used to be that kind of group. And for them to switch over to making club music, you know what I'm saying? There's actually, and I played this about the sigils and stuff like that, how I'm not going to go into detail about how the sigils are made, but you can look up the, what is it? Is it the Mississippi sigils or Memphis sigils? I think it is the Memphis sigils, and how those sigils are created, and they're supposedly put in every song, and it's supposed to generate success for like dark magic reasons. And it's been suspected that 3 6 Mafia actually did use that to become successful. You know what I mean? It's a form of dark magic. The Lil Jon and East Side Boys used to have everybody on tilt. Listen, remember that song "Nuck If You Buck"? Bro, that might, listen, man. I can't remember what artist put that out. But that song "Nuck If You Buck," I'm telling you, if you play that song "Nuck If You Buck" in a church on Sunday morning, in an indigenous community, you know what I'm saying? All dark faces, all with quote unquote black people sitting at church. If you play that song "Nuck If You Buck," somebody's going to get hit. I don't know what they're going to get hit with, all right? They might get hit with a purse. They might get hit with one of them fruit basket hats the old indigenous ladies used to wear back in the day. I don't know if they still wear them because I don't go. They might get hit with a freaking high heel shoe. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's getting hit with something. And it's whatever it is in that song, bro, is what I'm talking about. It's something about that song, "Nuck If You Buck," in that beat. It's something about it. I don't watch literally chill environments turn into a brawl over that song playing in the background. Crazy. Hip hop is my religion. I've been listening to binaural bears lately. Hold on, let me make this smaller because I can't see nothing. Hold on a sec. Much better. Okay. Been listening to binaural bears lately. It put me in a more peaceful state. Nice. You know what I've been listening to, bro, to put me in like a more mind rested state? I play classical music, man. Give that a try. Play some classical music in your car, man, and just ride with some classical music, dude. I'm telling you, it recenters you, man. You put some class, it don't matter what kind of car you got, you put some classical music on, man, and take like a nice ride. It's going to help you get recentered, because it's the frequency, Having been raised in South California, specifically San Diego in the 80s, the record companies capitalize on gang violence and the ones that want to change die. Exactly. Yep. All the gang culture, you know what I'm saying? And which basically, I don't judge anybody for being involved in gang culture. People do what they got to do. But I'm going to go as far as to say a lot of that stuff you see in Hollywood is fake as hell. You might see these rappers standing in the hood with a bunch of other dudes that's respected on the street. A lot of them dudes paid to be standing there next to them guys, man. A lot of those guys actually paid those guys on that block to stand there. They might have went to the Big Blood or the Big Crip or whatever and said, blah, 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 checked in to make sure everything was good. And then did this little YouTube video or TikTok or, you know what I'm saying, whatever they use these days, these kids use to post the little videos. And they might just post a video with them standing in the hood or something like that with these Bloods or something to make them look like they're official. But it's all Hollywood, man. Them dudes is paid actors, man. All of them. They paid to play a role. On the O-Rig Batman movie, original Batman movie, the Joker put poison in parts in different products and social things that when combined was nearly untraceable. Yeah, that's facts right there. Yeah, the Joker. And again, they gotta tell you what they're doing. The Joker. Yep. Over here in California, setting the record and stirring the pot as always. My man. As for the Little John Crunk songs, it reminds me of the Kingsman movie, the church fight scene. I haven't seen that movie. Crime Mob, that's who made that song, "Nuck If You Buck," with the two girls, and I think it was like 3 dudes and 2 girls, and they all just went a "Nuck if you buck, what? Nuck if you buck, what? Nuck if you buck, what? Nuck if you buck." It wasn't a complex chorus. It was one of the choruses that make you start doing like this and get amped up. You and your boys getting amped up. Man, bro, I tell you, it's a recipe for disaster, man. It's a recipe for disaster. I'm telling you. Yes, 3 6 Mafia was true hypnosis. 3 6 Mafia, man. I'm telling you, they had, and they were on top for a minute too. When I was in high school, them dudes was on top. You know what I mean? But I never got into any of that stuff, bro, because it never sat right with me. Listen, the whole Rockefeller era. Listen, I was a Jay-Z fan before he put out. I think the last Jay-Z album I liked was The Life and Times of Sean Carter 1. This might have been in like 2000. But when he started getting into that. All right, so Jay-Z was always kind of a street rapper, but he was more smooth in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Reasonable Doubt, you know what I mean? The Hard Knock Life album. Those albums were they were just smooth. You know what I'm saying? My man had some Versace swagger about him, like Nas said. And you know what I mean? Dude was just like, he was about having money and about pushing nice whips and stuff like that, and just, you know, a little bit of street element to it, but more so being swagged out. But yo, when he started doing the whole state property thing, yo, I ain't like none of that shit. And no, don't get me wrong, me being a lyricist, I have the utmost respect for Beanie Siegel because that dude had bars. That dude could spit. You put Beanie Siegel in the room with your top artists back then, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them Philly cats was nasty like that. Cassidy was nasty like that. Y'all seen what he did to Freeway. But you put Beanie Siegel in the room with any of them rappers, he gonna rap circles. It's not even gonna be close, you know. But I couldn't rock with his music, yo. Like I couldn't, man. His music, I didn't like it. You know what I mean? It was hip hop went through this era in early 2000s to about, I want to say 2004 when Kanye West came in, because Kanye changed the whole hip hop game. You know what I'm saying? They went from the street gangster rap to like the you know, it's acceptable to be different type thing. You know, and I actually, that was a big influence for a lot of us, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like, yo, it's okay to not be a gangster, you know what I'm saying? It's okay to be yourself, you know, that type thing. But yeah, as far as that music and stuff like that goes, I wasn't listening to none of that stuff in the 2000s. I was listening to underground artists, man. I was on Chino XL, you know what I'm saying? Juice. I was banging with the Roots. They weren't really underground, but I had listening to the Roots, you know what I'm saying? Idea from Rom Sayers Records, Rob Sayers. I think it's called Rhyme Sayers Entertainment. Yeah, that's what it's called. Slug, you know, Brother Ali, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of those artists that are underground that weren't really popular. That's the stuff I was listening to. So I never really got into that, man. Bone Thugs, yo. Bone Thugs, I like Bone Thugs, man. Bone Thugs was tight, yo. They was tight. They had some music. Tupac was dope too. Tupac was dope too. Yeah, I like Tupac stuff. It's also interesting to see how some artists like Glorilla, Zoe, and Lil White never went mainstream like the others. I wonder if it has something to do with selling their soul. Yeah, a lot of those rappers have been knocking on fame's door, but they never really got through. You know what I'm saying? And we listened to on this channel, we talked about earlier this year, or maybe last year, when Ali Vegas, you know, when Fabulous came out back in 2001, I think it was, his first album came out. There was another artist named Ali Vegas that was supposed to come out around the same time under DJ Clue. You know what I'm saying? And Ali Vegas, if not equally as nice, was a little bit doper than Fab. Now, Fab had the punchlines, though. I ain't gonna say that, but maybe because Fab had the punchlines. But yo, in terms of flow, nah, Ali Vegas was way nicer than Fab. But they came out around the same time, and I always wondered at first. I was like, yo, why the hell didn't Ali Vegas make it? Like he was really rubbing elbows with the right dudes to rub elbows with in that industry. Why the hell did he make it? And Fabulous did. Then he puts out this interview where he's talking about how you know what I'm saying? A lot of these artists swing both ways. He was like, yo, they invited him to a party. He was supposed to put out he was supposed to be on DJ Clue's mixtape. And they invited him to, I think it was a DJ Clue party. And no, it was a Diddy party, as a matter. I think it was a Diddy party, if I'm not mistaken. He said, yo, when he was walking up to the party, a few of these rappers came out of the party and a few actors. He ain't say no name. I can't say no names. But a few real popular actors and rappers was leaving the party, like coming out, you know what I'm saying? And he was coming in the party, and he said, yo, when he went in the party, he saw a lot of, I'm on YouTube, so I got to watch my language. He saw a lot of questionable activity if you are not into men, we'll put it that way. He saw a lot of questionable activity, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of these rappers that were supposed to be like gangster and hard body and stuff like that was involved with some sideways stuff. So he said, yo, he was like, yo, what kind of party is this? And they walked up to him and said, yo, why don't you go ahead and put this on or wear this right here? He was like, yo, I'm not wearing nothing. Matter of fact, I'm out of here. He said, yo, once he left that party, nobody was answering his phone calls no more. You know what I'm saying? People stopped checking on him. You know, he was no longer invited to certain events. He just basically got cut completely off. And the interview is floating around on the internet. The dude's name is Ali Vegas. But yeah, he was saying, yo, if you don't play by them rules, then you're not gonna be able to make it forward. You know what I'm saying? Deacon's body slamming Usher. He talking about the church thing. Some groups in Go too. Oh yeah, Go-Go's the same way. That's crazy. Cause I know out DC, man. I've been to a couple DC spots out there, man, and you know what I'm saying. Nobody ever thinks I'm from Baltimore. I mean, I had one guy. He was. I did a interview on a podcast a while back, like 2 years ago. And he was like, "Yo, you from Baltimore?" I said, "Yeah, man." He was like, "Yo, I didn't think you was from Baltimore." He's the way I don't dress like a Baltimore dude. I guess I dress like a grown man, I suppose. So yeah. But yeah, a lot of those spots out DC, man, shit, a lot of those spots be chill from what I seen. You know, I went out there, man, and a few of them little bars and stuff like that, and it was cool. So I don't know. Binaural beats, bro. Okay, got you, no doubt. 963 hertz frequency or 777 frequency. I don't know which frequency it was that music that was being played, but I'm gonna tell you it was a bad frequency. Solfeggio frequency or Figio frequencies, right? Yeah. Sipping on some scissor, right, yo? Like, you know what I'm saying? Sipping on some scissor was one of them joints that, you know, it just sounded like, yo, anybody who listens to this song is probably not doing anything with their life, respectively. Scarface. Your Beans is the only one I can say handle Kiss. That track with straight heat. Uncle Ralph had Ro come out and Summer beat that down. There was another Biggie and Pac beat for life. Yeah. Beans was nasty, bro. Kiss had problems on his hands messing with Beans. And to be honest with you, Kiss at that time was not ready for Beanie Siegel. Not at that time. He wasn't ready for Beans at that time. You know, Beans was just on another level. How is knowledge defined in your opinion? Does knowledge originate from external or internal sources? Both, I think, man. I think it's both. You know what I'm saying? I think it's both. Like you can learn something externally, and what you learn externally can help you internally figure out other things. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be able to read something, for example, an experiment. You might be able to read about an experiment, and then you might apply that same principle of the outcome to something that has nothing to do with that experiment. So I think comprehension and you know, being able to apply ways of thinking and principles to other situations can bring about knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You know, being able to learn and apply. Some people can learn all day, but the application is what's hard for people, whether it be courage or whatever. All right, let's go back to this because we're not done with that gangster rap thing. We're gonna spend some more time on that because I think it's important. We're not done with it just yet. Let's go back to it.
Go back and you look at the type of music that black people had out, you know, before hip hop. Look at the kind of music. It makes you really wonder why would you put out gangster rap. When you see the interviews with Jerry Heller and, you know, Dr. Dre and them now talking about what happened back then, Jerry Heller's talking about how he went to Capitol Records and went to these other labels and it basically was like, you can't put this stuff out. You know, then he went to Priority, and Priority Records was, you know, accepted him and this and that. And how when NWA shot the video, you know, straight out of Compton, sent it to MTV. MTV was like, hell no, we're not playing this. Now, you got to remember, a lot of people don't realize that whole thing was a publicity stunt to get African Americans to accept this gangster rap. Because contrary to what you may believe, I know it's hard to believe, you had people out there who was really against black people. Was totally against this gangster rap, as they can see. So they had to bring us in on it. Do you honestly?
By the way, this is fair use. This is protected by fair use. Fair use.
Think if NWA would have just came this music, I mean, it just bam, it's on all the radios, on the TV, the video, and they talking about murder, killer, drugs, this and that. Black people would have stepped back and said, "Oh, you tripping?" They're gonna think that's all of us. They're gonna think there's something wrong with us. You can't put this music out. We would have protested it. We did protest it. This is what you don't see. WPGC.
An anti-rap backlash is spreading. WPGC in Washington, D.C. dropped violent or demeaning lyrics 3 years ago. Last month, KACE in Los Angeles followed suit. This week, WBLS in New York City.
It's in pop music. It's in rock music. It's everywhere now. It's an epidemic of bad news for our communities around the country.
Support everything that's positive that's going on in the community.
Stop the Violence, a grassroots watchdog group in Los Angeles, pressed KPWR to rein in rap as a public service.
So the world-class wrecking crew was managed by one of the members was a guy named Alonzo Williams. One day Alonzo said to me after 3 months of trying to get me to meet Eric Wright. So Eric drives up in a Suzuki Samurai all tricked out with MC Ren. I said, what do you call the group? He said, NWA. And I said, what's that stand for? No whites allowed? And he said, that's pretty close. And he played me Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube, in a band called Niggers with Attitudes. And I said, whoa. I said, this is everything that Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy would have done if they wouldn't have been assassinated. And I said, this is going to be more important to race relations in this country since Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy.
Me and Dre would sit down in the studio, and I started getting, catching a pattern. Dre would be like, yo, why don't you, such and such, or we'll be talking, and be like, yo, remember that story you told me the other day? Why don't you, like, nah, Dre, that's reality, man. That's my man that's caught up in the bond, that's going through that shit. Going through that. That's real life. But, Dre, he would present a track. 9 times out of 10, he'd be like, I want you to, talk crap on this one. But my way, I guess, of talking crap is a little different. I would get a little grimier than I usually would, but it was still, not cross the line as far as he wanted me to. He wanted me to tell stories, I guess, be a little disrespectful. The thing that I always said was like, Dre, man, we've been there, done that. I used to always run that bomb, thinking he'd catch on. But, nah, this is what it is, and this is what they respect.
You know what's crazy? I remember when Rakim was signed to Aftermath, man. And Rakim is one of the best rappers in history, in my opinion. Dude is one of the nicest MCs, period, yo. He has an album. What is that one album called? Goddamn, I can't remember what the album is called. I had the joint called I Controlled the Crowd on it. But, yo, that album right there, bro, crazy, man. That's a great album, man. That's my favorite one, actually. But, yo, Rakim, I always wondered, why was Dr. Dre unable to work with Rakim and get him to blow up like M did? Like, yo, Rakim is already stamped and certified. All he needs is Dr. Dre's beats behind him. But creative differences, whenever they say creative differences, the reason usually is this reason right here. Like, yo, why don't you go ahead and say some grimy stuff, you know what I'm saying? Say something about the streets. And Rakim is like, yo, we already been through that. I really don't want to make music like that. You know what I'm saying? So then they ended up sticking Rakim with some, B-class producers. You know what I'm saying? Dudes that wasn't really knocking like that. Had beats, but it wasn't Dr. Dre's beats. You know what I mean? There's a difference between a beat and a Dr. Dre beat. As a matter of fact, it might not be a difference between a beat and Dr. Dre beats, because I heard a lot of stuff Dr. Dre stole from somebody, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna I don't know how true that is. But yeah, I wondered that for a while, and looks like my man was not able to get on the program because he wasn't trying to sell out like that. All right, so this is Luke right here, Uncle Luke. So anybody remember Uncle Luke? My man used to put out some freak nasty music. Twerking really came from, you know what I'm saying, the stuff they used to do back in the day, All right, so he says, let me show you young people who started this S word. Again, me. This is 1991. You see the dance your mama doing at my show? We don't call this twerking. That's some stuff y'all made up. This dance is called pop. Pop that P word. I'm not going to say that. I'm trying to clean the language up. By the way, you don't do it over every song like y'all doing now. That's what he's talking about. So, girls shaking ass and all that good stuff. And I'm not going to be able to play that because that's actual music. Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it. Yeah, so stumbling across that, man, it really made me like, yo, I was right about the whole entire thing, man. That the whole thing just never sat well with me. The whole time that music came out, I never really listened to it. And yeah, absolutely, music and frequencies are everything. And then one thing that people are starting to realize is frequencies control a lot of different occurrences in the area. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm behind. Hold on a sec. Yeah, Ugo said A6 say dog or two. I don't say Doug. I hate that shit. I do. I was like, yo, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, my cousin said, yo, we're gonna go pick up the Dougs. I said, what the hell is that? Dougs. I say dog, honestly. I don't say Dougs. I say dog. But I do say two. So screw you, man. I say two. Yeah, I say two. I say two. I say it. That's like one of the only things I say that Baltimore dudes say. But yeah, you got me dead to rights on that one. But nah, yo, DC heads is cool, man. I never had no problem with no DC heads. I always thought the Beltway beef was stupid as hell. You know, like, yo, I go as far as to say when I go out DC, I always have a good time. The food out there is delicious. Mambo sauce is on point. I don't care what nobody say. I would take mambo sauce and I'll put that on any goddamn thing, bro. If y'all don't know what mambo sauce is, y'all are tripping. I recommend you go get some of that Capital City mambo sauce. Do yourself a favor and try some of that out because it's one of the most delicious things you might ever taste in your life when it comes to sauces. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, mambo sauce is the truth. You put that mambo sauce on a sandwich or something like that, it's going to kick it up automatically. Payne Weber Group. The Gov didn't create G-Rap, but when they gangster rap, but when they seen the effects it had on people of color, especially, they then weaponize it through their front agencies. See, yeah, it was a combination of things, Wolf. I'm telling you, social media, tell lies, visually disconnect. All that is blind, the foe keep us blind. Yep. You see how Eon uncovered the new meaning of gold. It's all a conspiracy. Yeah, that was on my channel actually, man, which was that blew my mind. They changed the definition of gold. That's wild. I never thought they did that. I'm like, yo, that's wild, man. All music is Tavistock engineering. Jared says, end results broken fams that need state and government assistance, job security, and cats locked up, money repeat court offenders, and money for those who own shares in prisons. Listen, tell them, bring it out, man. Bring it out, bruh. Bring it out, man. Bring it out. It's a pathway, bro. Because look, the mother, the father goes off to jail or can't get along with the father for whatever reason because she feels like I ain't got to do nothing you tell me to do because I can just get the government to help me out. Boom. Father's out of the picture, raises the children, raises the boy or whatever like that. Boy grows up, doesn't have a father around, gets involved with all kinds of sideways stuff, which there's more of a percentage of a little boy getting involved in crime when he's raised without his father than if he's raised without his mother. Unfortunately, there's more of a percentage of that happening. So boom, raised by his mom, you know, he might be more prone to emotional outbursts, which when a man's more prone to emotional outbursts, it could be dangerous because men react more violently. You know what I'm saying? I pick up the strap and go get busy. You know, he goes to jail, whatever. You know, he might make some babies before he goes to jail. Cycle continues. You know, it's a continuous cycle. And then let alone the whole entire school system literally is like prison. Like, yo, there's a time you have to sit down and eat. The way the lunch tables are set up and stuff like that, bro. The food they serve you, man, it's crazy. You know, when you really start to look at this stuff, man, it's insane how it works. Can't wear a hat in school. Can't eat in the classroom. Industry Oaks Reveal has a good video of this type of music. Tupac destroying a generation. Y'all think it was Tupac? I don't think it was Tupac that destroyed the generation, though, bro. I think he had a contributing hand to it to a degree, but I think, NWA really brought that forward, man. NWA, Tupac even realized some of his music was kind of wild, and he started making different music before they took him. But, yeah. I don't think it was just Pac, though. Oil and water do not mix, 100%. Why didn't MOP blow up or Aftermath? I feel like they're gonna go out like Charles Barkley. Yo said that. MOP on Aftermath, why didn't they blow up? I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. MOP, I never thought they had enough musical diversity. Like, yo, MOP, and I brought MOP's Power album, and it was fire. But that's because I like that kind of hip. I like the yelling, aggressive type of music to a degree. You know what I'm saying? But they just didn't have enough different variety, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's only but so much yelling you're gonna be able to listen to. and no disrespect to MOP. No disrespect to MOP. But they just didn't have that variable, you know what I mean? So I don't think they would have blew up anyway. In Maryland, you can find that mumbo sauce at Shoppers. That's why I said, yo, the Capital City joint is fire, but there's better mumbo sauces than Capital City. You know what I'm saying? Any Baltimore or any DC native will tell you that Capital City is not even really that good, but if you never really had mumbo sauce before, it's a great place to start. I like the spicy one personally because, you know, I love spicy stuff. But yeah, that's just me. All right. Let's look into a natural remedy, shall we? So if you've been out there eating spicy food and your breath is kicking, let's look at a remedy to fix your breath, man. So my man says this is what you should do in order to make yourself some homemade mouthwash.
Let's make some all-natural mouthwash. Well, it's just 2 ingredients, cinnamon and cloves. Now, cloves help to freshen your breath instantly, and its antibacterial properties help to reduce the risk of dental issues like bleeding and swollen gums. And cinnamon is an antiseptic that can reduce the growth of bad bacteria that causes bad breath. So I let this sit overnight, and I like to use it both as a mouthwash, and then I also carry a spray bottle in my car just in case I have some onions or something while I'm out. Now, this will keep your mouth fresh all day without any harmful ingredients. All right, enjoy.
Yep. And what I also like to do too, man, I even drop some like cinnamon sticks in my water and just let it marinate to like a tea and then drink it. You know what I'm saying? Very good for the blood flow. But yeah, cinnamon is fire, man. Get on with it. Get on with it. All right, let's move on to the next one, shall we? All right, let's take a look at the old high school standards of physical education. This is what it used to be like in the United States of America for physical education. I think it was divided between boys and girls back then, too.
At what American high school gym class looked like in the 1960s. This footage is from one of the 4,000 U.S. high schools that followed La Sierra's physical education program that was pushed to be the standard model by JFK. According to the La Sierra physical education standards that were outlined in their 1966 handbook, the minimum push-ups that a student should be able to do is 16, and they should have at least a 7.5-minute mile run. Considering most modern Americans struggle to even complete 5 push-ups, this 16 minimum is quite shocking. The top group that was outlined in the handbook is Blue Team, and to be a part of this, you had to be able to perform 12 handstand push-ups and at least 14 pull-ups, which are crazily impressive standards. Considering 1 in 6 modern American children have obesity, it is a shocking sight to see how seriously fitness and health were being taken in the 1960s, and how even the president was helping push forward this higher standard of physical education in school. Many people wonder if America as a country will ever return to a place even close to this. But considering the trends in obesity and the culture shift of America, it continues to seem unlikely.
They look like they're training for the military right there, man. That's very interesting. Now, do you guys think that has something to do with the draft, though? Because maybe it was a situation where they were keeping these kids in shape because the draft could you literally pull them up out of there, you know, wherever they are in life and have them come out there fighting a war. So maybe it's a situation where they had to do all that stuff because the draft would probably pull them in. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. But yo, I'm actually not against that kind of training for physical education. A lot of the problems that Americans have, you go to any other country and obesity is a big issue, man. Like you go to a place like Italy, you know what I mean? And the average American is obese. They go to sit down in a chair and you might get offered 2 chairs in Italy. This can happen. They might say, hey, would you like 2 chairs so you can sit one on, you know, and they're not being disrespectful. They're just trying to make your experience more comfortable, you know. So these people in Italy or these people over in Europe are a lot smaller. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not against the physical education requirements being that high for children, honestly. I think it'll be good for them. You know, the more workouts a man can do, the higher his testosterone is going to be. more healthier his heart is. The heart's going to be able to basically flow that blood. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against that completely. But I thought that was very interesting because that looks like a strict standard just for kids to be taken in like a literal physical education class. All right, let's move on. If I can get this pulled up. All right, now let's take a look at these. Now, people thought this is actually real. People thought this was a joke, but this one's actually a real thing right here. Take a look at this. Now, where is it? If I can find it. There it is. All right, so this was in 1920, okay? They actually had passports for animals. This cat had a passport. And this was issued by the captain of port in Baltimore, Maryland. This is actually a real thing. I saw this on the website when I was looking up some information for passports. I think I might have sent this to Wolf a while ago. But yeah, this was actually a passport for a cat. His name was Herman the Cat. Expert Mouser was his occupation. His sponsor was the U.S. Coast Guard. So they would put some of these cats on board of the ships in order to hunt some of the rats and mice that got on board and would, you know what I'm saying, eat the food or something like that was on board the ship. But yeah, this was a thing. And they even had a little paw print right here for his serial number on there. He had a index finger, right hand, his right paw had his paw print on there. So that was actually a thing back in the day. Passports for animals. That was very interesting. So this is before. So this was the 20th century. They said, okay, so this was like, I think the passport said 1940s. So this was at the 1933. So do you think the cat had a legal fiction? Did the cat have an in legis? Is that what it was? Because I'm questioning that right there. All right, let's move on. Real quick one. This guy said, so now I can say I know some cats from Baltimore. That was corny, but it was kind of funny though. I'm not mad at that. All right. Okay. And this one's about home of the giant reptilians.
Blogger Hokan discovers a mysterious entrance to a hidden mountain cave obscured by dense jungle overgrowth. The cliffs leading down to the entrance are so steep he cannot explore it further, but he notes its location. Nearly 2 decades later, the British Cave Research Association finally explores the cave. What the team discovers is astounding. It is the largest underground chamber on the planet.
It's not just a cave. It's an actual world in Vietnam. Inside this cave, it's 40 stories high. There's actually an ancient forest. It's got flowing water, not just a puddle or a stream, but an actual river. Inside the cave is an entire growing ecosystem. And it's so deep that it looks like it's an entrance to a whole other reality.
This incredible subterranean realm, called the Songdung Cave, is estimated to be roughly 3 million years old. It runs through the earth for nearly 6 miles, and numerous areas where the cave ceiling has collapsed allow sunlight to enter, resulting in the growth of trees and other vegetation.
All right. And there's a lot of little areas and like caves and stuff like that exist in the same exact situation. You know what I'm saying? Flowing water, you know, like even a spring of such like that. They got sun coming through, vegetation growing, giant areas. And why the hell did they say it was a home of a giant reptilians though? Why they said that? I don't see nothing on here to suggest why they would have said something like that. Interesting. They never explained that. But yeah, there's a whole lot of those little caves and stuff like that that exist. And some of them even have rare crystals. So some of the crystals that are found in places, you know, with caves and stuff that are obscured or they might be tucked away or something of that nature. I remember I read somewhere that stuff like moldavite and different other crystals are actually giants, fallen giant bodies. And the giant bodies basically went through the process of going through the earth and all that, and they got turned into crystals, which I thought was a very interesting thing. But yeah. All right, we're coming up on 1 hour 22 minutes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this link in here because I got some more to share, but I think we're gonna I'm gonna save those. I'm gonna drop the link in here. Anybody wants to hop in, they can do so. Drop a few words of wisdom right at the bottom of the chat. If you guys want to hop in, you can do so. Click the link. It says look up red mercury. I heard of red mercury. Red mercury is the thing where I was fascinated with this. So apparently what is something doesn't have a reflection in red mercury? What is it that doesn't have a reflection? Is it garlic or something like something doesn't have a reflection? When you talk about red mercury, I looked at this on YouTube a while back, and there was something did not have a reflection. When you look, because red mercury is supposed to be like a mirror, basically, but something doesn't. It might have been garlic or something like that. I can't remember what it was. What do you think about the Stargate conspiracy movie? I didn't watch it. I can't speak on it. I didn't watch it, Mr. Belizean. I didn't watch it. All right, so we got my man Bad Wolf in the green room. My man growing the beard out, man. Support my man growing the beard. What up, man?
What's going on, young cuz? How you living, brother, man?
All good over here in these parts of the world, man. How about you?
I can't complain. You know, normal stuff going on. Just reading these books, learning some more law, learning everything I can get my hands on. You know how we do.
You already know, man. It never ends. What you think about the whole situation with this the caves and stuff like that, man? And another thing too, I was never the guy to do cave exploration. I do not like the idea of having to wiggle through a little small crevice, and you cannot move anymore. You're freaking stuck. I can't do it, bro.
As somebody who was in Boy Scouts, and that was a unique opportunity to get to do those things. It is no fun when you get stuck down in the cave.
Nah.
And the majority of it is pretty open. Like you can walk through, it's cool. But if you actually do like the hardcore stuff, like you better be real okay with like, squeezing through some small spots, being in awkward positions. Yeah, it ain't fun. That ain't fun. I mean, it's fun in the open areas, but not in them tight little spots.
Hey man, I see it like this, bro. If I was supposed to be there, I would be able to walk right through it. You feel me? I'm not tucking into a ball and rolling through no. I look like Metroid. Oh, hell no.
All right, so my audio's low. Let me get my mic over here a little bit better.
Your audio sounds fine to me.
All right. Yeah. I've done cave explorations a couple times. I like caves. So like go in there and see the crystals and see what I can find. Just it's cool. But when you start getting like real deep, and usually they tell you this is for the advanced. They have the main areas for regular people. But they say if you want to do the advanced areas, you have to sign a waiver because like it's pretty serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like. So I don't know when it starts getting, I have to lay down or go into something backwards to come out the right. No.
Like that don't even sound right to me. I gotta go in backwards. What?
I've seen it. Yeah, they're like, okay, the way, like there was one, as a flat platform, right? But then it curves like this and supposed to open up into an area where you can kind of move around. So you can't really go in crawling this way. You got to go in like on your back this way, feet first, so that you can curve around, you know, because your body can't curve the other way. I was like, no, no. Just
Right.
take a picture.
Yeah, no, I'm good, champ. I'm good on that. Matter of fact, drop a drone in that joint. I can see everything from here, yo. But a drone with a flashlight on it.
Fiber optic cable, run it down there. Yep, cool. No,
Yeah.
other than that, nope.
That's crazy, man. But yeah, some people really do get off on doing stuff like that, man. Even the and people that do like the snow things, like yo, they'll be on like a mountain climbing, and there'll be like a big snow, and like you can't make a certain decibel of noise because the avalanche will kill you. You know, I'm good on that too. I like breathing.
No, I can't do it. I'm not built that way.
100%, man. 100%. Yes, indeed. So, my man asked about red mercury, bro. Did you ever look into the red mercury situation? I think I'm gonna look that up now because I haven't looked it up in a while, and I'm actually interested to relearn about it.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I looked that up. I know it had something to do with let me see. Let me get my refresher going.
Here it is right here. Yeah. So supposedly red mercury doesn't have a reflection in a mirror. I'm gonna pull it up now. Hold on. Here we go right here. Yeah, so it's literally like mercury, but it just has a red tint. And there's a mirror right there. It does not have a reflection. Crazy. How? Yeah. And the only other thing I can think of that's comparable to and there's the garlic right there. Yep. There it is. And it runs from garlic. It runs from that. That's what it was. And the only thing I can think of in Hollywood that's comparable is vampires. Vampires are supposed to not like garlic, and they're supposed to not have a reflection when they go in front of a mirror. And it like, I don't know what that was he had in his hand, but it attracted it. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure where you can get your hands on this stuff at, but I find that very, very fascinating. I would like to get some to experiment. You're supposed to be able to handle it too, if I'm not mistaken.
I'd still wear some gloves.
I wouldn't. You're supposed to be able to, but I wouldn't. But yeah, I find that fascinating though. See, look, it runs from garlic. You got a garlic clue. You remember back in the day, they said vampires don't like garlic or this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And so there's another video I actually found on here too, with the whole entire thing where it said this was found in an Egyptian tomb, the first place it was found. I don't know how true that is though. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me go back. I'm trying to find out where it said that at. Here it is, Egyptian tomb. Try to play it. Here it goes right here.
Zaki Saeed Ali, who discovered a strange viscous material hidden beneath the sarcophagus of the pharaoh Amun Tefnach.
Mummy juice. It's delicious.
The liquid is known as red mercury. It was created by the Egyptians, has supernatural abilities, and is known to spontaneously create nuclear fusion.
I like my nuclear fusion spontaneous. It's weird how it's known to do this, but no experiments with it have ever been reported.
It is rumored that the substance can tear a hole between our and that of the jinns.
I cast magic missile.
Gifting red mercury to a jinn brings vast amounts of wealth.
The jinn must be loaded.
This substance is a key ingredient to creating the philosopher's stone.
Expecto Patronum.
Let me know what you guys want me to cover in the next episode.
Yeah, besides the goofball that was commenting, but yeah, I find that very interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that, man. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I have to take a look at that, see what it really do.
Exactly. They talking about the gins and all that stuff. That's very interesting. Yeah, I looked into this red mercury like 2 years ago, and the only thing I saw was that it was repelled by garlic, and that it had no reflection in front of a mirror, which I can't think of anything else that doesn't have a reflection in front of a mirror.
Yeah, nothing that can be on Earth.
Yeah. All right.
I know in some of those tombs or whatever, they found like a black ooze in there too, like some kind of black chemical. It could have been just like the guy was talking about, like mummy juice. You know what I mean? Like, your innards, flushing out. But whatever it was, they hit it really quick. That's the only reason why it makes me think there's something more to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was just that, they'd be like, oh yeah, it's just some it came out of the mine or whatever. But when they hide stuff real quick, you only get a blip of it. They don't talk about it. That's where you need to start digging.
They ran a test on it, and they found out it can do something that you don't need to know about. What juice? What mummy juice?
What was wrong with being in there to me?
A man Civic Maker said precursor to night vision. Mounting Flame called it dragon's blood. Never heard that term before.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
What up, Bishop? What's up, man? My mama was an expert on vampire movies. Nice. They got the body of the Kemetic god Osiris at that Smithsonian. Interesting.
Yeah, I did hear that they did pull his body out of the tomb before they excavated that. And by the time the cameras got there, or I should say when the cameras were allowed to be there, everything that was in there was gone. It was a number of years back when they found the Osiris shaft and tomb, and they went down in there and they said there was 2 more corridors, and they said we will bring you in the next year where those lead to, but they ain't said nothing over 10 years. It's almost been about 10 years now. They never said nothing more. It went straight down. You're like with like a straight shaft. It's like a water chamber. It had 4 pillars and then a sarcophagus in the center, almost like Mumra from Thundercats. And then it had 2 chambers that went off like that. And they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna when we explore those, we're gonna bring them to you. They ain't never said nothing about that. They ain't never said nothing about. There's supposed to be 3 underground grand libraries. One under the Giza Plateau, entrance by the Sphinx, the right Sphinx paw. One in South America, and then one somewhere over in Europe. I think actually near either Serbia or who's at war right now? Bosnia. Yeah, it's supposed to be another one over there somewhere too.
I haven't been following it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, there's I remember that I had saw, I think it was Hidden Human History from the Spirit Science YouTube channel, and they were talking about one of those pyramids had a long hallway at the end, and there was a giant wall of light, and they had to get like a priest or something like that to come and to do some kind of chant or something to make the light go away to be able to enter. And then they were supposed to be able to have Paramount Pictures come and film the opening of the tomb, but something happened where they couldn't agree upon the rights or whatever, so it never got filmed. And they're supposed to have went in and found like a whole city with these tablets with all this ancient writing, and the writing was supposed to have cuneiform, which was one of the first known languages to man. And all of these clay tablets had cuneiform on them. Supposedly, the emerald tablets of Thoth was found in the same fashion. I just don't remember where they came from though. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a long history with that, but according to Thoth in the in his writings, that he placed his ship underneath the Giza Plateau, and in order to get there, you had to go through that wall, which then led down to a city underneath. Same thing with Mount Shasta. You know, they got stuff going on over there. There's so much crazy stuff going on in the world underground right now. It's people wouldn't even believe it. It's far more fanciful than what people are watching on TV, what's going on in real life, but they got to keep that from people. People ain't ready to see all that. I mean,
yeah.
Put it this way, they're acclimating people to what's coming.
And it's light too. It's very light. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you got these actors and celebrities to keep up with. Now, here's the little thing about aliens: more actors, celebrity crap. You know what I'm saying? Here's the little thing about a freaking science lab, you know, in your state that's privately owned. So yes, it's operating in the private and doing a lot of things that would be stupid illegal if it was in the public, but it's in the private, so it's okay. And there's nothing we can do about it. You know what I'm saying? And then they come back and tell you about some celebrities. You know, they give you little stuff here and there.
Yeah. Just from the things I've heard, it's that essentially they've made contact long time ago. And there's numerous ones that are here working with us. There's a couple that are against all of this, but for the most part, the coalition is in a place where they're not really worried about it. We have way more technology and things to protect this planet than what they're letting people know about. And they were basically told that you have X amount of days or years rather to acclimate people to the existence of outside life. So that's why you see certain videos, TV shows, movies. And now because we're accelerating. Now, back in the day, I heard it was the year 2032. All right, was that we're actually going to see hands-on actual real between 2030 and 32 rather, that it was going to be like, wow, okay, this is real, you know. So they've been accelerating, you know, these things. Like even on TV, there was a day where the Nimitz situation incident where that Tic Tac UFO off the coast of Florida near the Nimitz carrier, they recorded it. They let them show it on TV. They even said, yeah, we don't know what that is. It ain't ours. There was a day that never would have happened, you know. So they're ramping up to for full disclosure because they have no choice. What the things that are going on in the back half are that now this is just education. You guys can believe whatever you want to believe, you know. But we've apparently gotten so good at creating UFO technology. Now, mind you, there's a lot here. We had our own stuff that the ancients here did, but a lot of that also was in conjunction with the aliens who visited the planet, you know, thousands of years ago. Since then, we've recovered a lot, reverse engineered a lot. Now that we've got X amount of their technology, we can use that to kind of, because you know how people are, we're going to make it a little faster, this, that, better, whatever. So we've been making them to the point where other aliens are coming here to trade. They're like, yeah, we want to trade in our old stuff for some of that new stuff. We want to get on board. We want to be a part of what you guys got going on over here. So all I can say is that, yeah, be prepared because it's coming. I mean, we've been saying it for years. Everything that we said would never happen, you know, whatever else, you notice how they're all starting to happen, all these little things. So they're gearing us up for, I mean, most of the technology we have now, like I went to school for electrical engineering, technology and software development. So when I started like years ago doing electronics, like I used to ask my teachers, where did this come from? Who created it? This, that, and the other. And let's just say some of the information that they gave me, like outside of school on this stuff, was amazing. I mean, you know, even like one good book for you guys to read, if you guys want to get into it. What is it? The Day After Roswell. All right, there's a book called The Day After Roswell. That's a really good book to read. It's by a guy named, I think his name Philip Corso. He was like a major or a general or something like that. And he talks about how he was in the military and that a guy over him basically told him, hey, I need you to take care of something, blah, blah, blah. And this was sometime after Roswell, right? And the guy's like, gives him a special code. He goes down to the room, looks at all this stuff in there. And apparently, according to him, and he's been verified. So it's not like this is, you know, not real. He's been verified. Everything's legit. And of course, he did this before he passed away because he wanted people to know the truth. So he gets all the stuff in there, looks at it, comes back. He said, and the guy goes to the, you know, general. He's like, well, what is that? He's like, well, he's like, let's just say we procured pieces of a wreckage that happened in Roswell some time ago, and we need to figure out a way to use it. So in this guy's book, he ends up talking about how he was one of the first people to see what looked like a pencil, but he said when you would touch it, it would shoot a beam of light across the room and burn the wall. He said that there was at first they thought that what we now call IC chips or integrated circuit, they thought those were living bugs. So they thought these UFOs had living technology that they would stick to the boards, that they were bugs, but they weren't bugs. They just, because they had all these little silver things on the edge of them, which are just the clips.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't know what they were called. So they thought they were bugs. They called them, oh, they've got bug technology, something like that. They're,
Yeah.
But really what it was is they were just what we now call IC chips. So long story short, this guy was given the commission to secretly take all of these devices to all of the companies that are already working on something similar. And he said that when he looked at one of the uniforms that one of these little people were wearing, they broke scissors and knives trying to cut their material. Okay. Now, what's interesting about that is I look at some of these old ancient tales, like, The Hobbit and whatever else, where they have these, they call like Beethrill. Their cloth was like silk, but they couldn't cut it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with these materials. So stuff like that, guess where that went? To DuPont, who suddenly came out with Kevlar. They gave stuff to AT&T, Motorola. He talks about it all in the book. He said, yep, he says, I'm the one who brought them all of that. He said, under the condition that we get all of the best stuff they make with it, and then they can have knockoff products that can go to the public.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that
absolutely.
the government then gave the companies permission to patent them privately. So when I tell you guys, like, hey, if you want to know what's really going on out there, you got to go and look up the patents. I've looked up the patents, all right, to see who owns it, or to try. I've done research all the way down to find out who created like a capacitor, resistor, transistor, MOSFET, metal oxide semiconductor, like I did all these things, I know what's in each one of them, the component. And like I said, some of the stories, some of these military guys who became teachers would talk about things disappearing and right in front of them, just crazy stuff. A lot of stuff they don't really teach people too. Like a lot of people say for instance, like an LED, if an LED, if you're applying power to it, it'll emit a light, right? But if you don't apply power to it, but then you apply light to it, then it becomes a sensor. It's the same part, just used one way or the other way.
Right.
All right. So it's crazy. Like there's like electronics, it's crazy. Like most people know that everything runs in electronics on ones and zeros, on or off.
Absolutely.
But who created that code? And then when you run those ones and zeros through like a transistor, it's literally switching from power going this way to that way, this way to that way, in a standard 3-prong transistor. So who came up with this code? And then you watch things like where these UFOs were reported over missile silos and stuff, and they were able to turn them off.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
They were using their stuff.
Literal nukes were launched and deactivated. You know what I'm saying?
We're using their stuff. So they're like, that's cute. Yeah, we can turn these off. Like it's their technology, thousands and thousands of years old, that they've mastered this.
And that was Harry Truman's the one that struck the deal with him, correct?
Yeah, it kind of freaked him out apparently because he found out that the Greys are telepathic, so they can communicate telepathically, and that kind of freaked him out. So he didn't want them to know what he knew, so he had like intermediaries show up or whatever else. But one of the things that I heard too is that we've had the ability to shoot them down. So that's one of the reasons why the Roswell, and actually before Roswell, there was a crash. There's 2 crashes. There was one near New Mexico, and there was one in Texas. And it's crazy, man. I've read all kind of books on these things, and literally, if I can, communicated, over the internet with some of the witnesses that are still alive, whatever. So it's like crazy stuff. So, but yeah, anyway, long story short, we're gonna have disclosure. So I can't wait to see. We got 7-8 more years before we're gonna see what they're gonna do. And because if what I was told years ago was right, mark my words right here, 2030, 2032, it's about to happen. We're gonna see.
All right, so I just got word that they are interfering with the feeds. So we're going to have to change the subject. I got word the feed got a little weird for a second, so we're going to have to. I think we're done with that subject for the night.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? They'll let you go for a little bit, but when you say, "All right, now you're doing too much," all right, here you go. Take this feed loop. Take this.
Everything here is education and entertainment purposes only.
Right.
It's just conjecture hearsay.
100%. 100%. Let's catch up on some comments real quick. My man said, hold on, I got further back. Further back. Further back. There we go. All right. Anything that doesn't reflect human visible light. Because Music said, what up, A6 and Bad Wolf? What up, champ?
What's going on, Music?
Guy in the video mentioned it was used for something to do with the Philosopher's Stone. Yeah, I never heard of the Philosopher's Stone. That's interesting.
Yeah, the Philosopher's Stone, nobody knows for a fact what it is, but essentially, and I see Music kind of brings it up later on, it's supposed to be a substance that can change an element from one thing to another thing. Essentially, the only difference between nearly any substance or material are the electrons in the valence bands. Okay, so if you can change the electrons in it, you can change that substance and that pretty much anything else. So for years back in the Dark Ages, they were looking for a substance that could do that. And one of the things that allegedly could do that was monoatomic gold.
Yeah.
If you take gold and powder it down into one atom a piece,
I gotta get some more of that too.
Property. Yeah. I just started getting back on mine. It was I started to feel a little brainy.
Yeah, listen. On monatomic gold and that straggler, son. Yeah. I was doing I would add that to my drink, the astragalus and monatomic gold, and then maybe like a little vitamin C or something in there. And yeah, I would rock out with that.
Yeah, I was having a couple of interesting experiences, on the monoatomic is all I will say. I don't want to say too much. All I can say is, let me know your experiences, for those people out there, and I will talk about that in private. But yeah, so the Philosopher's Stone, some people think it was actually a stone, but really it's supposed to be a powder. And sometimes in the old days, they would misname things a little bit so that you wouldn't be on the trail. Like you had to be in the know to understand what they're talking about. Like the Egyptians referred to it as mufgut. They think that Moses was referring to it as manna that was falling from the sky. They say they think that they were eating that, which is what kept them alive for all that time that they were kind of basically walking in circles and, could have gotten to the motherland a lot quicker, but apparently God wanted them to wander for some time till they learned their lessons. But anyway, but yeah, apparently they found some in some of the Pharaoh tombs and whatever else. They didn't really know what they had. One guy, I think in Arkansas, found some on his property. The stuff is crazy because it's supposed to be like, people have said that if you add energy to it, it'll disappear. If you weigh it, the weight doesn't seem to be right. Some people have said it's almost weightless. Some people have said that, one person, I think, they fed it to their cat. Now, I can't vouch for this part. This is even a bit much for me, but they said that their cat had its arm was messed up, and they said the paw, like grew back, like it was still there, but it was like it healed, and he said like it had like a finger or whatever you call it, like a call cat's
The claw.
phalange claw was missing, and they said that grew back. I was like, I don't know. I might give you the whole arm got better, but like that part, I don't know. So all I can say is there's been a lot of claims on there, but I like to only talk about stuff that I can vouch for. But I will say I've
And
had
you can get your hands on this.
yeah, monatomic gold. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, I thought you were talking about something else. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the philosopher's stone is supposed to be ormus or monoatomic gold.
Oh,
Now
okay.
you can make it from the sea salt, but the best version is supposed to be made from the purest of gold. So even though there's knockoffs out there made from sea salt, you can do it that way too. But the good stuff is supposed to be from gold, which if you read the books by Zachariah Stitchin, the text, about Anunnaki and, all that stuff, like they talk about that's why they came to Earth, these aliens, Anunnaki came to Earth to mine gold, not only for their planet, which is Nibiru, but also to eat it because it gave them immortal life. And so if you hear that, you think, I could see that that's why there's something to everybody now loving gold so much, where they're hoarding it and hiding it, because there's properties to it that we don't know, or at least they don't want us to openly know, because then everybody would start. I mean, imagine right now if somebody was like, eat monatomic gold every day and you're going to be immortal. Everybody's going to be buying gold. You know what I mean? And getting that, eating it. You know what I mean? So
You had cats walking down the street and getting their chain knocked off of their chain, eating right in front of them.
Right.
Eat your Rolex off your arm, man.
Yeah. So yeah, talking about ambrosia. Yeah, that's supposed to be it. The food of the gods is gold. That's what that comes from.
Word.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Man,
Changing something from one thing to another. Transmutation.
That's where the initiates become God, man.
Yep.
Remember, we see a small portion of electromagnetic spectrum. That's a good point. That's
True.
a great
Less
point.
than 1%.
Those tablets, he's talking about those tablets came from another dimension. Hollow Earth. I love the Hollow Earth thing, man. Hollow Earth thing is very interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, essentially, if you took off all the water on the planet Earth, it would look like a rotten apple core.
Word.
Think about that for a moment. Like a mostly eaten apple with wormholes in it is what it would look like if we didn't have water.
Yeah.
And if the Earth was a complete, perfectly round ball, we'd all be underwater. Because where would the water go?
Absolutely.
We gotta have
Let's not even go there. You're gonna get Jared all fired up. You gonna get Jared fired up, man. You know he ain't listening. Not tonight, because he won't click the link and be in here talking to you. The movie Paul told you part of the plan with aliens. The internet is based on alien technology. 1,000%. Listen, I said that a long time ago. Literally, there's a whole entire world inside the internet, and it's literally based on alien tech. What's to say our reality isn't on some kind of internet, and we're creating another internet within that internet? You know what I mean? Like, internetception type deal. What's to say that the simulation isn't that particular circumstance? It's just when you start to think about those possibilities, again, who created the ones and the zeros? Because all of this right now that you hear and seeing is all the ones and the zeros pretty much, but as far as in real and what we call real life, the ones and the zeros exist as well, I would say. All things are basically based off energy and all that stuff. Everything has energy or frequency to it.
And remember, if they are allowing us to have the internet and any technology, any plane, any whatever that once was covert, black ops, whatever, if they're showing it to us now, what do they have? They never reveal. Remember how for years they said the SR-71 and all the rest of those things? No, there's no such thing. There was no Area 51. They said no, none of those things. Yep. And then what do we got now? Oh, yep, there's Area 51, but we're pretty much closing that down. Oh, yep, 71 SR-71 Blackbird's a real thing.
Yeah,
But they
the
said it was
Blackbird.
like, no, we have no craft out there that are capable of such fantastic things that you guys are talking about. No, there's none of that stuff.
That's another thing too, man. You know how rich Professor X had to be to have a damn Blackbird? Like, bro, you got a freaking military grade aircraft in your backyard. You know what I'm saying? Craziness. Professor X. But hey, but look, check it out though. Maybe that was subliminal. Like, yo, Professor X has a bunch of superhuman beings that he teaches and no government funding, right? It has a SR-71 Blackbird, you know, a military grade aircraft. You know, what if there's literally a group like the X-Men that exists, but they don't say anything to you about, you know what I mean? And even the X-Men had a Black Ops squad. And we start looking at these experiments in these laboratories that are popping up all over the place that are owned by China. You know what I'm saying? What's to say that's not the case? You know?
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah,
You put it out there, man.
Doubt it. If I walked around the corner and seen, I'm like, that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like,
You're right. You know, like, like I said, the X-Men had a Black Ops squad, literally. You know what I mean? So who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows? But I'm gonna move off that subject. What up, Machi? What's good? They told you about the internet in the Bumblebee movie. A weapon called a disruptor. Is that the sound weapon? The disruptor? Is that the one that works off sound waves or something like that? That's supposed to be able to make everybody collapse? Or the crowd divider or something? Do I file my oath of allegiance to the state with the county clerk? I couldn't tell you. I didn't file an oath of allegiance, bro. I couldn't even tell you. On my chainsaw has 1 for on and 0 for off. Word. Yeah. As a matter of fact, arms do too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Arms do
putting
as
it
well.
right in our face. We just don't know what we're seeing. No different than everything else we're doing in life. We're getting the watered down version of everything that's really going on because they don't feel that. How do they say a person can be smart, but people are stupid? I think that's what they said in what was that? Men in Black. Yeah, I think that's what they said there.
All the tech comes from past Antarctica.
Past
Antarctica.
Not all of it, but yeah, what he's talking about is that they have underground stuff going on there too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Educational information only. They've found cities there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's supposed to be the pyramid in Alaska, and then let's just say there's proof that they're doing stuff there. I won't go into that here for channel reasons.
That's not something you can really talk about here. Good Music says things disappearing right in front of you sounds like MFKZT, monatomic gold, platinum group elements, or may orbitally rearrange monatomic elements, type 1 and type 2 superconductors. Yeah. That part.
Now they've got semiconductors that are that conduct at room temperature, which is something they said that could never be done. So the thing about that is that revolutionizes a whole lot of things. Something that can basically float at room temperature without having to put a whole lot of power into it. That's a game changer.
What brand monatomic gold y'all use? I gotta look at my case from the last one I bought. Mine's came in like a little cylindrical tube with like the little capsules.
Yeah, I think mine's Ormus, ORMUS, monatomic gold. It's in a black wrapper on Amazon. It's got like a blue atomic symbol on it. Comes in like a
I had that before. I thought they stopped making stuff though.
No, they chill out for a while, then they come back on.
Is it Royal Ormus with the logo?
Too.
Yeah,
I got that one too. But the other one is different.
Okay. Man in Hebrew is the breath of life. I believe that. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, an anime about alchemy. Recommend book. Recommended book Melanin, The Chemical Key to Black Greatness by Carol Barnes. Never read that one.
No, I haven't read that one either.
That esoteric knowledge coming out, my brother. You can turn water into gasoline transmutation. Yeah, there's a guy who actually had the keys to that, but he ended up self-deleting.
Something along those lines.
We're not going there tonight, Jared. About the Earth. Weapon X Wolverine Project Rebirth Captain America. Yep. Listen, we could go into it, bro. Like a lot of these cartoons are realer than you think, man. You know what I mean? These super soldiers and all that stuff, bro. That stuff. Listen, there's some basis to it. I'm telling you. I keep telling everyone. Hey, and check this out, right? Nah, I ain't gonna talk about that. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that. Let's just say the whole thing that happened in the mountains over there in it was Afghanistan with the extra large, yeah.
Yep.
And his body, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yep. I can't go into detail though. I keep telling everyone that Lovecraft Country told you a lot of what has been and will be going on. Yes. Yeah. But
See, the Covenant, and Six knows this. The Covenant, guys, is that they have to put out what they're doing into the public.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a form of agreement, contracts, acquiescence. You're seeing it. They're acclimating us to what's really going on. All right, and they have to get us from point A to point C. All right. And there's a lot of things that they have on the table. Okay. Let's just hypothetically, they got outside threats, they got inside threats, they got industries that could collapse overnight if they bring things out too fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's just hypothetically say they've got a ZPM, 0-point module, which actually transfers space-time energy through usually a crystal, and then that crystal itself can then be harnessed like a battery. But the crystal itself is pulling energy from space, the fabric of space-time itself, meaning you don't need anything connected to it. It's pulling it in, and then you're harnessing the energy from it, like 2 leads on a battery, like on a 9 volts or whatever else. That is going to be a problem right now, because now you're looking at the oil industry doesn't need to be here. Electric companies don't need to be here. You know what I mean? You can use that to power your house. You can use that to power, stadiums, buildings. I mean, ships. Probably enough power there to power spacecrafts or gravity reduction devices, we'll just call them. So you have to understand that, like, they can't just bring these things out into the open, because the average person needs to, get acclimated with it. Each generation, as we get closer, like from our parents believing in UFOs to where most people are today, is a huge leap just within our parents.
Absolutely. It's retarded big.
So the acclimation, is working. Right? Like right now, would anybody really be too surprised? I mean, what would be more shocking to you? If somebody walking down the street who looked just like you was an alien, but identical to you, but their genetic structure would be different. They had a TV show on like that about 7 or 8 years ago. I forgot what it was called. And they were like, yeah, there's aliens here that are already on Earth that look just like us. And they've been here for thousands of years. Were they really telling us something? Or would you be more afraid of one of the grays coming down and walking down the street? Well, of course, people are going to be like, well, I'd be more afraid of the gray because it doesn't look like us.
Yeah.
But then people are going to be also bothered. Wait, you mean there's ones that look like us that are walking around us right now? It's kind of weird. How many are there? Whatever. But that would be like, if I was a GOV, that would be the first ones that I would introduce, me, unless they wanted to cause a disturbance, and then utilize that for certain said reasons. But if I was going to do it on the affirmation way, I would say we have made contact with a civilization so far away that it takes a whole year to get there, and we are in no danger whatsoever. We just kind of want to let you guys know. That's how I would do it. And if that wasn't the way I was going to do it, then the other way I would do it would be I'd have some kind of catastrophe, like maybe a meteor coming towards Earth, and then all of a sudden, like I would have it like, oh, we're doomed. But then I'd say something like, oh, wait, but just so you guys know, there's the meteor that's coming here in the next 5 years it's starting to slow down. And oh, wait, look, there's UFOs. Our friends have contacted us and they've stopped it. That way it kind of seems like they're the hero in the story. You see what I'm saying? Like you gotta introduce it in just the kind of the right way to get people ready for what it is.
Right. I do agree with that, man. And that seems to be gradually what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Again, I do agree with the point where you're saying, where we are now compared to where our parents were is complete damn near 180. But it's going to get even more serious. You know what I mean? The Project Bluebeams will increase and things of that nature, but we'll see what we need to see to know that, these books and stuff these people were putting out and all this documentation or research and stuff like that people have done, and this stuff was not in vain. A lot of these people put their lives behind this research, and the fact that they've actually uncovered a lot of things without disclosure, and some of them even paid the price for it too. But it is actually showing that these guys are not just conspiracy theorists or crazy. So coming up, we are a little bit past 2 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down for the night. You guys, man, thank you. Excellent night, man. Thank you guys for coming out to listen and checking us out. Wolf, I'm gonna give you the floor, of course, first.
The biggest thing I can tell you guys is number one, support A6 here. He's working hard for you. Every time you guys donate, he can go and get books. He can learn some more. We do this because it's our passion, but we do need a little bit of support and help from you guys. Dollars matter, guys. $1, $2, $5, $10. I mean, whatever. 20 people giving $2. You got something. You can go get a book, maybe, or a coffee, or just something. Other than that, I would definitely just say, guys, vet your information. And if you guys are so stuck, okay, and I was guilty of this years back. I was very stuck on, I have the master way. I know everything. This is what it is. Then you're a fool. Sorry, straight up. You have to be able to move with the next thing. You might be wrong. You might not have all the answers, because if you're so locked on this being something being absolute, you don't know the truth. Nobody here, myself included, knows all the truth about everything. Even water. Nobody here knows all the properties of water, what it can do, what it can't do, and whatever else. You don't know. So if you're not willing to re-examine your own knowledge, your own information, the things that you've experienced, then you're in the wrong game. So vet your information. If you guys are watching other people's processes and everything, be careful out there, especially when it comes to something financial, because that is what the system wants, is for you to screw up something financially, because you can make your own claims about who and what you are, your status, your standing, whatever else. But when you're using forms or things inappropriately, that's when they're going to come a knocking and, mess you up. So be careful with that. Other than that, try to eat right, try to stay healthy. Don't let anybody, take away your dreams. Stay true to yourself, and just keep doing what you're doing. Take care of yourselves, love each other. Thank you for supporting 6. And you guys can always catch me over on the Bad Wolf channel. You know where to find me by now. And with that being said, appreciate you guys for lending me your ear, and take it away.
Yes, indeed, man. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Yes, indeed. You know what time it is. You know what rhyme it is. I'm A64 National Born Natural. Thank you for tuning in. God willing, we'll be back next Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I'll be dropping more videos in between. I might even do a surprise live sometime this week. We'll see what happens, because I do have a few other things I want to share with you guys. But not going to happen tonight because I'm tired. So with that said, I'm going to holler at you guys. Peace. Hit that Cash App right there at the bottom. Would be greatly appreciated. Take care.